there, and welcome to the Blogger's Guide to Cruising. I'm Julie Peasgood, and today I'm chatting with an award-winning writer of travel guides, articles and blogs. Sue Bryant is the cruise editor of the Sunday Times, and what she doesn't know about cruising, quite simply, isn't worth knowing. Sue, thank you for joining us.
It's a lot to live up to.
No, well, at the risk of sounding seriously cheesy, and I'm going to, you are, in my eyes, you've always been a cruise guru. I mean, you have written over 25 travel books, including guides and coffee table books for cruises. How and when did it all start?
Well, I've always been a travel writer. So I suppose I just began to... I went on a couple of cruises, saw a kind of gap in the market and began to specialise in cruising. And then I suppose the more you specialise, the more you become an expert, then the more you're in demand, and it kind of snowballed from there.
Yes, exactly. I suppose you were filling a gap in the market at that time.
At the time, yes, which was about 15 years ago. Yeah, not many people were writing about cruising then, and not many people were going on cruising then.
No, absolutely. It has had a vast change in 15 years, the world of cruising, hasn't it?
Yes.
How what, in your eyes, are some of the biggest changes that have taken place?
Just the variety has increased enormously, so far more different types of ships for different types of people, different tastes, luxury ships, budget ships, big resort-style ships with whole loads of stuff to do for families, and everything's a lot more sophisticated. It's a lot better. So the food is better, the entertainment is better, you know, lots more big-name celebs in the entertainment, famous chefs on ships.
Yes.
So it's just the quality has really increased.
Yes, and of course river cruising has risen in massive popularity.
That too.
I mean, that was the very little river cruising 15 years ago.
Yes,
I think,
pokey cabins and fold-down bunks, and now you know, luxury.
Can you remember your first ever cruise?
Yes, my first ever cruise was in December through the Irish Sea. Sick as a dog. Sick as a dog. Thought, this is it, this is going to be a disaster. Things improved after that. I had to have an injection, I was so seasick. There was a force 10 gale, it was awful, absolutely awful.
That's extraordinary. That was your very first cruise?
Yeah, it was a special one. It was a special hospitality cruise for lots of press to launch a new ship, but really, I mean...
Most people, of a sort of weaker-spirited people, would have just thought, that's it, that's not for me.
Well, yeah, I kind of hoped it's not always going to be a force 10. So I thought, this is a baptism of fire, it can't be any worse.
Definitely.
And it has not been any worse ever since then. It's been better and better.
Just out of interest, do you have any sort of tips for seasickness? Because I remember somebody saying to me, I only ever had it once, and somebody said to me, brown bread and sort of don't you know, lie down and things.
I'll take the drugs, that's my advice. Drug up. So take precautions. Even now, I don't get seasick, but even now I take seasick pills before the ship sails.
Do you?
And when I was very sick on that ship, I had the injection, which just knocks you out.
Okay.
Makes you very sleepy, but it's worth it. So no, take a precaution rather than deal with it when it happens. That's
very good indeed. Advice. Yeah, because you see everybody suddenly, if it's, you know, rocky, you see them buying all those wristbands.
No, it's too late then.
Too late, isn't it?
And stay up on deck, you know, get fresh air, look at the horizon, all those
very
things.
Good, very good advice. Okay, so that was your first one we've spoken about. What has been probably your most memorable cruise? That's, I know, for somebody who's done as many as you. How many cruises have you done? Can you put a number on it?
I think I've been on probably more than 100 ships, but that doesn't mean 100 cruises. Some of those are just visiting the ship.
Okay.
You know. But yeah, a lot. So,
gosh, okay, a couple of your favourites.
So my most memorable cruise was a small adventure ship in the Sea of Cortez. Most people wouldn't even know what that was. So it's the bit between the pointy finger that sticks down from California.
Yes.
So it's Mexico. It's the sea in between Baja, California and Mexico. And that was just amazing. I mean, wildlife like you have never seen. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of dolphins all at once.
Wow.
And we saw a blue whale, and just incredible bird life, and there was no one there, no people, no ships, no nothing. It was amazing.
How fantastic! What can you remember? Which line it was with?
It was with a funny name, Uncruise Adventures. They're called.
Uncruise.
So they try and get over the cruising myth and make it all about you're on a ship, but it's not a traditional cruise. So it was really, really good.
How exciting! I've cruised a lot, like you, but I've never ever seen a whale. It remains a complete ambition of mine to actually see a whale.
Well, last week, of all places, just off the coast of Norway, we saw 27 orcas.
You did.
I was on a whale watch on deck. And in winter. It was amazing.
I was so jealous.
Yeah.
If somebody, I mean, sort of, what would you say are the kind of must-do destinations? If somebody's new to cruising and they're thinking, I really want something spectacular, where would you send them?
Well, it depends. I mean, it depends if they want culture, history, wildlife. I'm more of an adventure wildlife kind of person.
I know you
so
are.
Sea of Cortez, definitely. But equally, I love cruising around the Med. I mean, everybody should sail into Venice while they still can.
Yes.
Because that's something never to be missed.
Yes.
I think everyone should probably do a transatlantic crossing if they're going to become hooked on cruising, because that's also an amazing experience on the Queen Mary too. And Greece, the Greek islands. I mean, I love cruising around the Greek islands because I love it that you can do the cultural things, but you can also just go off and find a nice taverna for lunch and then get back on the ship. Yes,
yeah, exactly. I remember visiting Mykonos and thinking this place is so beautiful. I want to return. In fact, I'm interrupting myself. I just wanted to say that's, for me, one of the highlights of cruising, that it does give you a sort of taster, a little view of different ports. And you can think, oh, I want to come back here. Tallinn was somewhere I've returned to for the weekend.
Oh, okay.
Because I just thought I loved it.
Yeah, it's very pretty.
Very pretty, you know. And equally, there are other ports that you think, no, this isn't for me.
Done that.
Yeah. Favourite port for you, or one of your many favourites?
One of my favourites is, again, a very obscure place. It's a little bit off Guadeloupe called the Ile des Saintes. And it's really beautiful. It's a little group of islands, and only small ships can go there. And I love it that you can just go for a lovely walk on the island. There's lots of little bars along the waterfront, a very small beach. And it's just a beautiful setting, but I would always go back there. Isn't that interesting? I knew your places would be secret places. Any other secret places you're willing to divulge and share? Secret places? I don't know. I mean... Well, you've given us two secret things to do in places is more the point. Okay. You know, like in Venice, if you're in Venice, which is one of my favourites, just go ashore at night, because the ship's usually overnight there. Go and walk around at night. Don't bother in the day. It's packed and hot. So go at night and just get lost. And, I mean, that would be a secret tip. And some other places, you know, just get on the bus. Don't go on a tour. Just take a local bus. I mean, make sure you can get back to the ship, or it will leave without you. But I did a whole cruise around Alaska with my kids, and I couldn't afford any of the shore excursions, so I arranged our own things just on local buses in each port, and we had a great time. Met local people. And it's a really interesting point, actually, because I was going to say, when should you do a ship's excursion, and when should you go off-piste and do it yourself? For me, I think it would be if I was in a place where I didn't know the language, if, say, like Russia. In Russia, you have to, there's such protocol anyway. You have to go with an organised... try on my own. Some people do. Some people do, but I mean, even just getting the visas and things is a hassle. And where it's a hassle to get there, so, for example, Pompeii, I would always do a tour, because you're always going to see it better with a guide who knows what they're talking about. You can get there from the port, but you may as well just go on the tour bus. And I mean, somewhere where a really good guide brings the place alive, I think is somewhere you should always do a tour. Definitely. Rather than wander around in the heat with a guidebook. Because you can get sort of, and you miss all the points. And you miss the gossip. You didn't see the yellow bridge of what's it. Also, I think if it's an organised tour for something that you can't do easily, like swimming with dolphins, like going to the ballet, or something that actually is properly organised and in a certain amount period of time. When you've got limited time. And you don't want to be stressing all day about missing the ship. Because, I mean, they do sail, don't they, without... They do. It's happened to me, not to me. No, it's never happened to me. I would never allowed be too scared. But I've actually witnessed it leaving. So have I, and see them running along the gangway going, wait! And then they have to go to the next sort of port, fly there, and nightmare. No, thank you. No, that's absolutely fascinating. Why do you think at this age we're in that cruising has become so popular? A 9% increase, I think we were seeing year on year, year out. Why do you think? Well, I think it's a bit about what I was saying earlier. I just think the ships are much better. A cruise is no longer a sort of mediocre experience. It's really good. It's great value. You get really good food, and even if you're paying extra to eat in one of the fancy restaurants with a celebrity chef, you're still paying a fraction of what you would pay ashore. You're going to more places. There are much more sort of adventurous itineraries, diverse itineraries, and ships that suit, like I said, different people. So a lot more families are cruising now, because it's such a hassle-free trip with kids. I mean, I've cruised with my kids since they were tiny, and it's I love it. They don't want to go with me anymore, but they will. They will. They will. And also, the luxury ships are becoming really cool now. They're not just becoming expensive, they're actually becoming really cool alternatives to really smart boutique hotels. Definitely. And I think there's something interesting about that. A lot of people, I think, they might look at the price and they might think, wow, that's a price ticket.
But when you think how much is included, you know, you've got your excursions, you've got all your drinks, you've got gratuities.
Yeah.
When you actually do the maths, the luxury cruises can actually, there's not much difference between them and a cruise that isn't a luxury cruise, and you're paying for all your extras.
And all the cabins are beautiful. You know, on a ship like a Regent ship or a Silversea ship, you won't get a bad cabin. There is no bad cabin. Yeah. And the service is fantastic. Really, really. That's what people always talk about.
It is spot on, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's that thing of you're lying by the pool or whatever, and you would like a cocktail or just a drink of water or a coffee, and it's somebody's there.
Yeah.
You know, I think the ratio on some of the ships is actually, on Crystal, I think it might be virtually 2 to 1.
Well, some of them it's 1 to 1. This is the new, yeah.
Oh,
and some of them, they come around and they polish your sunglasses. I've had that.
Do you have not?
Yeah. I couldn't believe it. I thought he was joking.
Madam, shall I polish your sunglasses?
No, Miss Bryant. He knew my name.
Oh,
yeah.
And actually, yes, I can understand that. And then probably if he'd taken the trouble to know your name, he would know your drink, your favourite drink. So when you went to the bar at night, he'd say, champagne,
probably,
Miss Bryant,
They usually say gin and tonic when I walk into the bar.
Do you prefer, Sue, the smaller, more intimate ships, or do you sort of think do you like personally the bigger resort ships?
Well, personally, I prefer the small ones because I just do. Yep, and but the big ships definitely have a place, and I do love ships like the Queen Mary 2. I absolutely love the Queen Mary 2. That ship's very special, and that's a huge ship. It's like a city.
Yes.
I think for families, the bigger ships are probably better because there's so much to do. And I've sailed on big ships with my kids, but if I had a choice, I'd probably take a smaller ship. Yes.
Yeah, so would I. I'm with you on that. Please stay with us and don't go anywhere, because we'll be right back with Sue after this break. Welcome back to the Blogger's Guide to Cruising, and Sue Bryant, cruise editor of the Sunday Times, is still with me. Sue, we mentioned before the break restaurants on board and the fantastic array of food that there is. For me, the sushi bar and Silk Road on board Crystal, run by Mr. Nobu, the famous Japanese chef, is possibly one of the best experiences I've ever had on land or sea.
Wow.
No, seriously, do you have a particular favourite on any ship that you could recall?
The veranda on Cunard. Okay. Spectacular. Best cheese board ever. Well, cheese trolley, I should say. Where else have I eaten really well? On celebrity cruises, there are some really good restaurants.
Yes.
And my children are very adventurous. They'll eat everything. I'm a boring veggie, but they will eat anything. So we've been to all the fancy restaurants on celebrity cruises, and the kids have just eaten their way through the menu. In Murano, which is really gorgeous, and a restaurant called Cuisine, where you can assemble your own little dishes. That's good fun.
Gosh.
Also on P&O, they have lots of very famous chefs.
Yes, they do.
Atal Kotchar's Indian restaurant, Sindhu, on P&O is fabulous. And that's one of my examples, really, of where you would... he's a Michelin-starred chef, and it would cost a lot of money to eat in his restaurant in London, but on P&O it's very affordable.
Something like 10 quid or 15 quid.
I can't remember exactly, but really, really delicious food.
Yeah, I know some people say, oh gosh, I thought all the food was included and there's a small supplement. But when you compare it to what it would be in the normal restaurant, which would be hundreds of pounds.
And you don't have to eat in these places, you know, it's a choice. Not all the passengers do, quite a few don't. So, but I always do. To me, that's the adventure and the fun of being on a big ship, the choice of places to eat.
Exactly. Yeah. Are you still, after doing so many, I mean, I know it might not have been 100 cruises, but 100 ships, is there anything that still wows you about cruising?
Yeah, everything. I love it, yeah. Sailing out of port at sunset.
Yes.
And just, you know you've had a fantastic day, you know, the whole evening's ahead, the sun's going down, it's cocktail time. That's one of my favourite times. I love that.
Okay. There's lots of ahead in the world of cruising. Is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to? I know there's some amazing things from Carnival coming, like is it the cycling track, 800 foot of cycling above the ship?
Yes, I mean there's that, but I am looking forward to a whole new generation of luxury ships, and that's not just because they're luxury, just because they're interesting ships. So Crystal is coming out with new ships. It already has a beautiful yacht, which I should be going on.
Yes, it does, yes. And
Silversea is launching. Yes, Silversea is launching a new ship. Regent is launching a new ship, and these are really, really stunning ships. So that's exciting. I'm looking forward to sort of more, I'm looking forward to river cruising evolving a lot more.
Yes.
And changing a bit, and being a bit less for older people, and I mean, which is fine, but for people my age or families, I'm looking forward to that kind of evolution on river cruising as well.
Do you think there are still, I mean, I think there are still a fair few misconceptions about cruising, that it is, you know, for older people
all
only.
the same, yeah.
Do you get, I get it from my friends, they say, why are you always going on cruises?
My parents go on cruises, yes.
But there is a cruise out there, isn't there, for everybody?
And these misconceptions have not changed in 15 years. Will I be seasick? Will I be bored? Will everybody be old? And the answer is no, no, and no.
Yeah, absolutely. But for me, the biggest one is, will I be bored? There is so much to do. You can't actually fit it all in. For me, I mean, I love days of being in port, but I actually love days at sea.
Yeah, me
because
too.
I love. I don't do the ballroom dancing, but I do the line dancing.
Oh yes, I do that.
You do that as well. I love the crafts. I know on sort of the more premium ships there aren't the crafts that you might find on other ships, but I love all the crafts.
I like the cookery classes.
Yes.
Which is bizarre, because you cook every day at home, but I really love it.
Yes.
The cookery school on P&O's Britannia is fantastic.
Exactly, and the cookery school on Regent is really good as well. And you know, so much to sort of do, and the cinemas and all of that. And then, of course, you can just chill out with a book and a cocktail, and that's fantastic.
Stare at the sea looking for the whales that you've not spotted because you've been too busy doing line dancing.
Got to do line dancing, got to work off those calories. How do you manage to stay looking good after cruise upon cruise? Because I have put on well over a stone, easily, if not more.
Oh,
since
I go to the gym every day actually on the ship. Yep.
That's
and if I'm on a river cruise, I take one of the bikes and go for a bike ride.
I love biking.
And also, you know, you don't have to binge. Just because there's a lot of food there, you don't have to eat everything in sight. And there is a temptation, and there are certainly days where I do think I'm going to eat everything in sight, but generally, I mean, like a salad bar, a really amazing salad bar to me is a paradise, which sounds a bit pretentious, but I love it.
No, it doesn't. It's a paradise to me as well. I mean, I eat chicken and fish. I don't eat other meats, but no, it is a paradise to me as well. And
so you can be very healthy.
Yeah, it can be.
It's the booze that does
I think when people first go on them, they tend to go splurge.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then it tempers, and especially when you're on a world cruise, you just have to. Otherwise, none of your clothes
Yeah, you see, I've
fit.
never tackled anything like that. No. That would be probably very bad news for me.
What's on your bucket list still to come?
Antarctica is still on my bucket list.
Yeah.
I think Antarctica needs to be done over time. You can't just rush through it and do one of those really speedy ones. So I'm waiting till both my children have gone to university, and then I'll try and do that. Yeah. But yeah, that's probably the a main one, and probably maybe cruising some of the more remote bits of Asia. I would like to do. Yes, definitely. I would love to cruise to Bali. Bali is one of my favourite destinations. And funnily enough, talking about cruises that leave from the UK or fly cruises, advantages to both. I mean, I think for somebody who doesn't like flying, cruises like on Cruise and Maritime always leave from Tilbury or other ports. That can be good. It can also be good if you're a hoarder and you want to buy lots and bring lots back. Yes. But then equally, fly cruise, you can actually fly to a destination and after your cruise extend your holiday. Yes, I mean, there are advantages to both. You know, if you want to get there quickly, you fly, but if you don't fly, you can actually get pretty well anywhere on a ship. You can get to the States, you can get to the Caribbean at Christmas. Yes. You know, it doesn't mean you're only cruising in Europe. There are lots of long-haul cruises go to South America. Yes, exactly. So if you've got the time and you don't want to get on a plane, there are most bits of the world. Australia, you can reach on a ship. Definitely. When you're packing for a cruise, what are your absolute essentials? What tips can you give people who might be thinking, what do I take? Things that fold down very small, which for a woman is easy, less so for a man. Things that go together, so you can mix and match different combos of outfits. A camera, or do you take pictures on your phone? No, I always take my big camera, and I take pictures on my phone. Okay. I might take my laptop because they tend to be working. Books, I'm old-fashioned, I don't use a Kindle. So am I. Like to love books. Lie there with my book. Yeah. So. And what about formal code? I mean, river cruises don't have a formal night at all. And I think on a lot of the ships, certainly on ships like Oceania and whatever, they don't do formal nights. Do you welcome that, Sue? Partly, yes, but I don't mind dressing up. I think it's easier for women. It's quite nice sometimes. I think in the heat, so you know, when it's a really hot destination, it's a bit annoying to have to get done up in black tie. But equally, I quite like dressing for dinner. I quite enjoy the ritual of getting ready for dinner rather than going for dinner in my shorts. But if I was on, say, a villa holiday in Greece or something, I would go to dinner looking like a complete slob because I would be in my own garden. But no, but on a ship, it's all part of cruising, I think, is dressing up. And I don't mind doing it at all. Yes,
it's all part of the cruising experience.
And I quite like that people... On a nice ship, people will try to look quite smart anyway.
Yes, they will.
Rather than going in their shorts.
Yeah. Putting you really on the spot, favourite couple, I won't put you down to one, but favourite couple of cruise lines, favourite ships that you will always think, oh yes, I never get tired or bored with going on,
OK, Star Clippers, big sailing ships.
Really?
I love those.
OK.
Uncruise, which I mentioned before, just because they take you to incredible places. Big ships, I love the Queen Mary 2, which I mentioned, and I also love celebrity cruises. I like the celebrity cruises because they've got really good food and they've got a lawn on the top deck, and I love lying on the grass, which is bizarre, you know, but on a ship, but I just love it.
Yes, I've never been on a celebrity cruise.
No, I like celebrity
When
very
I worked
much.
at the Travel Channel, John Beaumont was always going on about the lawn on the top, so that's on my wish list. Are there any ships or cruises on a wish list for you that you've... Well, I know we said Antarctica as a destination.
Asia, Antarctica...
But not a ship, a particular ship?
No, not really.
Okay.
No, I mean, I kind of take what comes. Well, I mean, yes, the Celebrity Esprit, the little yacht, is definitely on my wish list.
Yes.
So, and Scenic have got a new one coming in a couple of years, which will be mega, with helicopters and 2 submarines. But, I mean, you know, that's a dream holiday.
Okay.
That's everybody's wish list, I think.
No, absolutely. And just final question, Sue. What do you think sums up a good cruising experience? What do you think is that for you?
Interesting food.
Yep.
Some time to myself on deck. And not queuing for anything. I don't like queuing.
Excellent. I'm with you on that one. Thank you ever so much, Sue. You've been a fantastic guest. Thank you too for watching, and I'll see you next time with another edition of the Blogger's Guide to Cruising. Bye for now.